This question: I thought my supplement would pay all approved charges. What is with this bill I just got? Well, okay. So there's a lot of things to unpack in just a short one-sentence question. I thought my supplement would pay all approved charges. My first question... the first thing I would find out if this question came to me, and this question has come to me before, are you a new client or are you a client who has had a Medicare supplement for a while? In other words, are you new to Medicare? Are you around 65 or are you 67 or 68 years old? A lot of times I'll get this bill from the person who just turned 65 and they're still trying to figure out how the supplement works. And I'll go back, and usually that's an explaining issue when I have to go back and re-explain something because there's a little bit of confusion on what part is what and even what approved charges are not. So that's the first thing. The next thing that would come up is if you weren't a client and you asked me this question. The next thing I would ask then is, what plan do you have? And here's what I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for company name. Company name doesn't matter, as I've said all through my website with regards to Medicare supplements. A Medicare supplement, a plan letter is a plan letter regardless of the name of the company that's on it. So Company A's plan isn't similar to Company B's plan. It's identical in every respect to Company B's plan, as long as we are talking about the same plan letter of Medicare supplement. Now, that being said, the thing that I'm going to want to find out from you is, which plan letter do you have? And for more information, see our website. I'll try to put a link in the YouTube video to that particular page. But the plan letters go at this time, the time this video is being recorded. Things are going to change in the future. Plans A, B, C, D, E, F, G, K, L, M, N. Excuse me. A, B, C, D, F, G, K, L, M, N. There's no E anymore. So yeah, there is a gap there. But the first thing I'm going to ask you is, which plan letter do you have? Normally, if there is a difference between Medicare plans and, Medicare supplement plans and Medicare parts. And what that means is Medicare has Part A, Part B, Part D, and Medicare Advantage's old name was Medicare Part C. Those are parts of Medicare. But a Medicare supplement has plan letters A, B, C, D, F, G, L, M, K, L, M, N. And just because you have Medicare Part A and Part B does not mean that you have a Medicare Supplement Plan B. As a matter of fact, you probably shouldn't have a Medicare Supplement Plan B. There's very few people I have found that to be a suitable choice for, at least in the states that I work with and in most people's specific situations. So when I ask what plan letter you have, that's the first thing that I would want to find out. Usually, now not always, but usually a person is going to have a plan C, D, F as in Frank, G, or N as in Nancy. And that sometimes determines what bill you're going to have. Now, if you have a Medicare supplement plan letter that is not one of those that I just mentioned, C, D, F, G, or N, it is very likely that you do have a Medicare supplement that has a bill on it. And even though some of those that I just mentioned do have bills on it. So not every Medicare supplement pays 100% of all bills. Now I'm going to unpack this a little bit further. Incidentally, if you don't know which plan letter you've got, check your card. If you don't know if it's not listed on your card, look at your policy. If you can't find your policy, call your insurance company. Just ask them to tell you which Medicare supplement plan letter you've got. Excuse me. That being said, the Medicare supplement plan letters Not all of them pay 100% of all Medicare-approved charges. Plans C and F pay 100% of all Medicare-approved charges that Medicare, leaves a copay on. Plans C and F also pay the Medicare Part B as in boy deductible, whatever the deductible is that year. So the difference between C and F, C leaves you to pay any Medicare Part B excess charges if you are in a state that has any. Ohio should not. Plan F pays that final bill. The excess charges, for the most part, aren't a big deal in most states anymore. For some people, their particular doctor situation, it may actually be an issue, but for the most part, that's not really a problem that most people need to worry about. So Plan C and F are more or less identical. In the state of Ohio, they're pretty much identical for Ohio, for doctors that you see in the state of Ohio, and in a lot of other states too. But they basically pay all the Medicare-approved charges. So if you see a bill, something did go wrong. We'll get to that. Now, plans D and G, D as in dog, and G as in gentleman, those plans pay all of the 100% of all the Medicare-approved charges except the Medicare Part B deductible. So you still have a deductible left over to pay with Medicare Supplements Plan D and G, and that deductible is going to reset on January 1, and it's also going to change a bit each year based on whatever year it is. So you do still have a deductible to pay if you have a Plan D or a Plan G. Now, why would a person do that? Well, typically the premium difference between D and G and C and F is more than the deductible. In other words, if the deductible is $150, the difference in getting a plan could be about $200. So it actually makes sense for a person to consider, in most states, putting a deductible on their Medicare supplement rather than having the supplement pay all bills. Now, everybody's situation is a little bit different. Not all states are the same way, but that actually does tend to make a difference a lot of times, and we'll generally do the math for a person that we're working with. If you're our client or you're going to be our client, we'll do that math and show you that price difference, and generally most people realize it doesn't make sense to get a plan that pays that deductible when you're going to be paying more than the deductible in difference. The other difference between D and G is, like C and F, D does not cover the excess charge and G does cover the excess charge. And again, in the state of Ohio, a few other states, that's actually not an issue because it can't be charged by doctors in the state of Ohio, and other states that have rules against that. And in the states where it can happen, Kentucky, West Virginia, it can happen depending on your doctor's situation, but for the most part, it's not really that much of an issue there either. So D and G leave a deductible, but then pay the rest of the bill. They're the same as C and F, except they leave a deductible. N is the other popular Medicare supplement. Now, N is a little bit different. It's a newer plan. N leaves you with the Medicare Part B deductible for that year, but it also leaves you with a copay of $20 each time you go to a doctor's office. A copay of up to $20 each time you go to a doctor's office. And it leaves you with a copay of up to $50 each time you go to an emergency room when there is no hospital admission after the emergency room. Let me explain that so that it's a little bit easier to understand. That's actually the definition, but let me explain it. When I say up to $20 to go to a doctor's office, here's what I mean by that. Medicare Part B, after the deductible, will pay 80% of the doctor office visit. Now, if the remaining charge, the remaining coinsurance after the 80% that Medicare pays is less than $20, then you just pay the rest of that bill. The insurance company does nothing for that particular charge. If the remaining 20% that Medicare Part B leaves is over $20, then your responsibility will be $20. The insurance company will pay the remainder of the bill after $20. Same thing for the emergency room, the $50 copay. So there are some bills left over for people who take an N plan, and you also have the deductible, and if you're in a state where it can also happen, you also have the excess charge. Why would a person do that if their Medicare supplement has some copays left over for everything every time they go see a doctor? The same reason you do anything with insurance. It's a balance between the premium that you pay for the benefits you receive. If you want an even lower premium on your Medicare supplement, you will leave yourself with less things the insurance company pays. The lower the premium, the more you have to pay because you're asking the insurance company to pay less. That's how all insurance works. So an N plan leaves you with the deductible, the Medicare Part B deductible, a $20 or up to $20 and up to $50 copay depending on the situation, and the excess charge. Everything that I just said in the 11.5 minutes of this particular explanation is, believe it or not, the most common answer to the question, I thought my supplement would pay all approved charges, what is with this bill I just got? The Medicare supplement, not every Medicare supplement pays 100% of the bill. Some supplements leave you with some bills left over. Now, that part of the question is answered. Let's go to the rest. And this, strangely enough, is not going to take that long. So, the first part of the rest of this answer is Medicare does pay, or the Medicare supplement does pay all of the approved charges subject to the conditions I just said. Was the charge that you just got not approved? In other words, did you do something that Medicare doesn't approve? I just had a client call me just yesterday asking why he is being billed for a medicine that goes into a medical device. Well, that one, we had to actually look that one up. It turns out that Medicare didn't actually buy his medical device, and so Medicare does not pay for the equipment that typically does not pay for things that go into equipment that they do not buy. So Medicare just went and bought him a new device, and then they're going to pay for the medicine. But that's an example, something that is not approved. Most dental services are not approved by Medicare. There's a few oral surgeries, that are approved by Medicare in some circumstances. Vision, if you're going in for an eyeglass check, just to check up on your eyeglasses, or do you need a new eyeglass prescription, Medicare typically does not pay for that. Those are just some long-term care Medicare does not pay for either. They'll pay for some care in a nursing facility, skilled nursing facility, and some home health care, provided specific circumstances are met, and you should really find out about those circumstances if you can, although a lot of times people get them and then they have to find out afterwards. But Medicare does not cover 100% all charges of everything. Now, they cover a lot. They're pretty darn comprehensive, but they aren't 100%. So if you do have a charge that is not approved, the Medicare supplement will not pay for it. Medicare supplement does exactly what it's called. It supplements Medicare. If Medicare doesn't cover, the supplement doesn't come in after it. The next thing, and this one, again, this is not meant to be kind of this question is not meant to be insulting. Because I actually do get this question more times than you think. If you think your supplement is meant to pay all approved charges, do you have a supplement? I say that because there are people in Medicare Advantage who think they have a Medicare supplement, and vice versa. There are people who are in Medicare supplements who thought they had Medicare Advantage. So it's very important you're clear on the type of insurance that you have. Do you for sure have a Medicare supplement which pays all Medicare approved charges, subject to, what I said earlier, or do you have a Medicare Advantage plan where there are some things left over for you to pay for almost everything that you do? So that's the next part of that to solve it. Now the next thing to look at is, did the doctor actually, or the doctor's office, or whoever else is doing the medical service, bill Medicare and the supplement in the right sequence? That can be a little frustrating. Did the doctor's office bill Medicare? Then did they tell Medicare that there's a supplement involved? Did Medicare pass those charges off to the supplement properly, the correct supplement? A lot of times, if you just turned 65, or this is your first time using this doctor, or this is the first time you're using this insurance, with the doctor that you've had for a while, not a lot of times, but sometimes the doctor's office won't have the records updated with regards to your insurance company. So it's very important that you check to make sure that your doctor's office actually bills Medicare and the right supplement. Sometimes, too, a doctor's office will jump the gun. This actually has been happening less and less lately, so this isn't as much of an issue, but it used to be a bigger issue. The doctor's office will bill Medicare, then bill you immediately before the supplement has actually even been notified, let alone had a chance to pay its share of the bill. So that's the next thing to watch. Make sure that you get explanations of benefits from Medicare and get explanations of benefits from your supplement before you pay the bills. Because a lot of times, if you just pay the bill as soon as you get it, before you've had a notice or before the doctor's bill has notified you that they have actually billed both Medicare and the supplement, and they do that, at least on the very first bill, the one within 30 days of the charge, it's important that you make sure that all the requisite people that are supposed to pay the bill before you get the bill got charged the bill. So those are kind of the primary places to go. Now, once you get beyond that, those are the basics. Everything that I just said in these 17 minutes are the basics. Once you get beyond the basics, your next step starts getting into intermediate and advanced claims processing, and for that, you start calling someone for some help. So if you're our client, you call us. You should, no matter who you use, if you're a client that's got their insurance through an agent or broker, that's the reason, I've said this countless times before, that's the reason the agents and brokers are there and exist in the first place. You don't need us to buy the insurance. You need us to explain the insurance, especially when something goes wrong. Make sure you contact them. See if you can get some help in this. A lot of times, if you call us, the first thing we're going to ask is, what did Medicare pay? What did the insurance company pay? We start with what Medicare paid. Keep your explanations of benefits. And we have to match up not the date of the bill, but the date of the service. So make sure you keep those Medicare explanations of benefits, and fax it to us, take a picture of it with your phone and send it to us if you're comfortable doing that. Email it to us if you're comfortable doing that. If you don't have it, you can go on to a site called mymedicare.gov. It's a government site. It's got your personal stuff on it. It's behind a password. If you don't have the password or you can't get onto it anymore, go on to the site and get a replacement password. The government is going to physically mail you a new password. Behind that site is going to be something, and I swear I'm not making this up, called a big blue button. And that big blue button is going to have a copy of all your Medicare claims from the time you started Medicare to the present. So you're going to be able to go there and retrieve a copy of what was paid. Now, when you come to us, at least us, assuming you give us permission to actually look at this, because there are privacy concerns, we will be able to take a look at your Medicare, at what Medicare paid, and it'll give an explanation. If Medicare denied a claim, we'll be able to go and see the reason for denial, and from there we'd be able to kind of go to step 2. Now, if Medicare paid, then the next place we go to is the insurance company. And that we should be able to look up fairly easy. We've got a couple insurance companies that absolutely will not let us look. Honestly, we try not to use those insurance companies that refuse to allow us to help you look at something like this, because that, fundamentally goes against, the principles of our agency. We want to help our clients solve these claim problems, and we try to direct people away, if we can, from an insurance company that we know is not going to allow us to help you with them. But for the most part, most insurance companies are going to help us get these claims paid as easily as possible. So they're going to help us either get a second copy of the claim with your permission, or will very often read what was paid and what was not to us so that we'll be able to diagnose it. If those two are paid just fine, then the next place we go is to the doctor's office, and that generally involves a conference call between the billing department of your doctor's office and you and us, so that we can kind of get a better understanding of what's left over. And from there, we can kind of take that information and see what's going on. So, and then there's more steps after that. But from there, if we can't solve the problem with that, then you go from intermediate to an advanced. And from there, that's a one-on-one discussion. So those are kind of the basics that we would do to get to get a bill paid if the Medicare supplement is leaving some charges left over. But really, the most basic of steps: find out what Medicare supplement plan letter you've got. If it's a plan C or F, then yeah, there is a good chance that something went wrong. We're going to go into something intermediate. If it's a plan D or G, then you've got a deductible. Make sure the deductible is paid. If the deductible has not been paid, then yes, that deductible is your responsibility. If it's a Medicare supplement plan N as in Nancy, you still have that deductible to pay that's left over. You've also got some co-pays to pay that are left over. Make sure that the charge that you're wondering about is not that. So those are the basics to this. There's a lot more to it. Again, the most important thing, if you can't figure it out, make sure you try to call someone to work with. Don't just ignore the bill. If you're ignoring a bill, then eventually it goes to collections, and really it may not even be the doctor's office's fault. There may be something screwed up in the paying of the bill. It could just be a simple phone call to figure out. Give us a call, send us an email. We should be able to help that. If you're our client, if you're someone else's client, go to them. That's what they're there for, to help you with these things. And just make sure any bill that you get, if you're not sure what it is, just make sure that you get it dealt with. Don't just put it aside and let it languish. There are people there that are in this business to help you get your bills paid, and to make sure to back up the guarantees that the insurance plans that they sell do what you expect them to do.